The African American Museum Library Coalition in Oakland is preserving your life story for history. What is your name and age?
Name is Harold Weathy Turley, and I'm 94.
94 years old.
94 years old.
Where were you born?
El Paso Robles, California.
Was that a farming town, or
Farming town.
did your parents farm?
Well, my mother, she had a garden of her own, a big garden. She bought 9 lots, taken in washing. We bought 9 lots.
How long did you live in this place?
Well, I lived in it for 12 years. My mother died when I was 9. My sister got married, and my brother and I, we raised ourselves.
Did your parents originate from California?
No, my dad come from Kansas City, Missouri, and my mother from North Carolina, Charlotte, North Carolina. And they met in Paso Robles and married.
What was their name?
My father's name was Edward Turley. My mother's name was Susie Byers. Susie Byers.
And they migrated here at the turn of the century?
Mm-hmm.
And did they get married here in California?
They got married in California.
How did they meet? Did they meet on the job, or?
Well, they didn't tell me everything, but I think they met in church.
Did you have any sisters and brothers?
I had Sister Effie, Lemuel, my oldest brother, Herbert, next to him, and my sister next to Herbert, and Edward, he died when he was 8 years old. He died in 1918.
Now, tell me, which one was the strongest?
Well, all of us was strong, but my oldest brother was the strongest man in town.
Now, was he the one that was 6'4"?
6'4".
And he weighed nearly 300 pounds?
No, 193. And he could run.
And so you guys played ball, shot marbles, or what did you do when you were?
Well, I started school when I was 8 years old. My sister had to quit in the 8th grade so I could start in the 1st. So I studied it. They taught me at home pretty good. And I studied and I went to school 4 years and I was in the 6th grade. But my mother skipped the 2nd, 4th, and 6th. And they said wouldn't be nobody before her or after her was smart as she was. My mother. She died when I was 9. She died 1917 on a Tuesday, 12 o'clock at night. And she died when she was 47.
Did you have black neighbors?
Yeah, had black neighbors. Good neighbors.
So about how many blacks lived in that town?
At that time, it was, maybe 40.
So your family grew your own veggies and you had your own meat, or did you have to go to the market?
We had to go to the market. But meat was so cheap you could get a soup bone for 5 cents.
And what year was this?
I was born 1908, June the 9th. And then my mother, she only lived 9 years after I was born. She died with rheumatism. She took in washing and ironing for the whole city. She bought 9 lots, and the city asked her to have 1 lot for a dump, to dump the garbage. And we had 1 dump already, but they wanted another one, so he took 1 lot. And where the fair is today, that's where I was born, Paso Robles.
So what kind of garbage trucks did you guys have? You didn't have like the motorized trucks we have today.
No, no.
Who pulled your garbage trucks?
That was so long ago about the garbage truck. They had outside toilets, you know, and they just dug a hole, built something over it, and that's where it was.
Did you have mules pulled it?
Mules pulled.
And so what else did you kids do?
Oh, we, as you said, we played marbles and played sandlot ball. And
Was this before World War I?
no, it was right at World War I when all this was taking place.
So how did World War I impact your family? Did anyone go off?
Yeah, my oldest brother missed it by 48 hours. He was going to go across, but armistice was signed, and he didn't fight. It was all over, Armistice Day.
So you were too young to go.
I was too young to go. I was 10 years old.
So tell me some more about your father. What kind of work?
Well, my father, he was going to be a hunter, and he had 3 good hounds, real good hounds, and he wounded a deer, and the deer killed all 3 of the hounds. So then he started in mixing mud and carrying the hod. I did that later on too.
So he was a professional hunter?
Well, he's pretty good. But when you wound a deer, you better be sure you got him, because he'll fight till the last. He takes his four feet and just jumps on top. He tore the dogs up.
So what would you guys do with the meat? Distribute it
He'll just give it. Every time they kill a cow, if it was 10 miles from it, somebody had a piece. That's the way they lived. They did.
You had a smokehouse too?
Well, not necessary, but he didn't get a chance to kill too many deers.
So there was a certain season that you could...
Certain season you could.
So what was the season?
Yeah, I think it was in the wintertime. Yeah. They watch close when they have the deers, you know, and they watch them close that they are able, you know, that they have enough deers to pass around.
So your dad must have been pretty stout to carry to be a hod carrier.
Yeah, he was. That's what I was later on. He was about 5'2". My mother was real tall, and all of my brothers was about. Well, another one was tall. Herbert was about 6 foot, and Edward, of course, he died when he was 8 years old. He could run like a deer. And if he had lived, I would have been lazy, because he died when I was 4. And if he didn't have me in his arms, he had me on his back. And if he had lived, I would have been lazy. And I can't remember him. He died when I was 4, and I could remember when I was 5.
Can you tell me some more about working in the fields, harvesting almonds and prunes?
Yeah, we worked in the almonds, we worked in the prunes, and that we didn't have no apricots in Paso Robles. Prunes and
you also baled hay?
I baled hay when I was 11 years old. I rode the ring, you know, and then my brother, he he baled the hay. He had his wire and he baled the hay. And I made, when I was 11, I made $5 a day, and he made $5. I made $11 a day, and he made 25.
That was quite a bit for a young whippersnapper, wasn't it?
Yes, yes, it was. Yeah. I made $11 a day.
And how much did you make shining shoes?
Oh, sometimes I made real good in shining shoes.
You would go into town?
Yeah, oh, yeah, I owned a stand of my own in Hollister, and then Modesto, and I did real good. So a lot of times I made $30 a day. That was big money then.
Can you tell me some more about your father's missionary work?
Yeah, he went Fiji Island and several other places. He's pretty good. He used to just take tracks and put them on the railroad track, and go to, I guess Constance was giving him something, but he did that daily. He just rather give, and that turned into my blood. I sold more books than anybody in the Texas Conference.
What religion was your family?
Seventh-day Adventist.
So you was raised Seventh-day
I was
Adventist?
raised Seventh-day Adventist.
So how long did he stay in Fiji Island?
Well, when my mother died, we couldn't get in touch with him. And then he came to California, and he joined the Los Angeles church. And I went to visit the church, and he's pretty faithful in his last days, because the preacher said, where Brother Turley sat and his father sat there every time. It was a big church, 66 in the choir.
What year was that that your father went to the Fiji Islands?
Oh, he went when I was young, and
This was in the 20s?
20s. Yeah, 20s.
It's kind of unusual for a black man to go to the Fiji Islands in
Yeah.
the 20s.
I know.
Did the church send him?
Hmm?
Did the church send him?
I think so. I think so. Church sent him.
So tell me about your school, and where did you go to school?
I went to school in Paso Robles, and I left. I sent my. Well, I'll tell you this. My sister got married, and I often wondered why my brother would, watch her. She got married and went to Modesto. And then I wanted to go back to, my brother and I went with her, and I wanted to go back to Paso Robles to go to school, my school chums. She said I could go, but I was scared. I forgot I was scared of the dark. And I had to do everything, send myself to school. And I was working for Miss and Miss Pendant when I went to Modesto. And getting $10 a month from the state. So I asked my sister, could I go back? She said, where are you going to stay? It was a lady named Miss Gray. She was 66 years old. I said, well, I'll stay with Miss Gray. But I stayed with her, and then she died. And then Mr. R.C. Heaton, he was the richest man in Paso Robles, in the little town, everybody knew everybody. And so he said, aren't you one of the Turley boys? I said, yes, sir. He said, remember who your mother was? He said she was good, had a good name. And he said, that little place I had for a store, and it's vacant now. And if you want, I heard Miss Gray died. She just knew right away. And he said, you can get a bed from your cousin's counselor, Aunt Crockett, and you can stay there. And he said, I won't charge you nothing.
So how old were you then, Mr. Turley?
12.
12.
Mm-hmm.
So you were pretty strong, and
Yeah.
you were interested in sports and all,
Uh-huh.
and you were going to school on your own.
On my own. But I was working with Miss Bennett. There was realtors. They knew my mother. And I had the job when I went to Modesto. But and then I had the job when I went to Modesto, and I went back to Paso Robles and got the job back.
So were you playing any sports then, or?
I was playing just at school.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us, when did you get interested in boxing?
Well, I boxed. I had three brothers, four brothers, and I boxed. Brother next to me, I was 5 and he was 8, and I could outbox him. I had to be careful not to hurt him. And I'd just been boxed in the ring when I was 13. Filipino wanted Filipino to box me to make it a main event. 13, a main event now.
Yeah.
And so.
So what weight was that? Welterweight?
I started out 85. I had to box fellas 126.
Oh.
Because I hit so hard. I tell you the quick story. I boxed Emerson Harvey. We boxed for 12, till I was from 12 to 20. And he would be careful with me, but sometimes he'd knock me down, and I'd get up and knock him down. He said, you knock me down, he'd cry. I said, why you crying? I said, you knocked me down, I didn't cry. He said, you're not supposed to knock me down, I'm bigger than you. So when both of us was 20 years old, he weighed 250, 6'6", and I weighed 250 pounds. He weighed 250 pounds, 6'6". And when we was 20, he said, let's box. I say, too windy to box, Emerson. He said, I won't hit you hard. So I thought he was, a change. So he hit me so hard, my face sunk in, and nobody laughed at me, and it came out. But before he could get away, I hit him with a left hook and knocked him out. Somebody said, how did he get down to you? I said, well, he had to get down to me so I could hit him.
So I understand that you met a famous trainer during your time.
Yeah, George Sadler.
Yes.
And he was the one that taught us how to fight. And he taught us both real good. See, what got me by so good was my quickness. My brother, I had a brother next to me. He's gone now, all of them are gone. But his hands were so fast, and my hands didn't slow up. I always did have fast hands. Fast eyes, I can see quick. I can see like a shadow almost.
I can see you still have fast hands.
Yes, yes.
Tell me, so after that, you decide you're gonna hang up your gloves and play baseball?
That's right. And I played baseball.
What time was that?
About everyone in California. Chico Rini, Red Bluff.
But you started out in Modesto, right?
Mm-hmm. Started the team in Modesto, and we won 28 games straight. We beat the Oakland Monarchs when they were in the prime. Ernie Elliott, you remember?
No, I remember the Oakland
Monarchs.
Yeah. So you're around like 21, 22 then? So when did the CC camp come in?
Well, I started in CC camp in 1934. That's when President Roosevelt, he started a CC camp.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the CC camp? Why did he start it at?
Because on account of everybody was hungry.
They had long soup lines.
Long soup lines. And
Because you guys didn't have to worry about that because you lived on a farm and you grew mostly your own stuff.
that's right.
So you must have helped out a lot of people in the community?
Yes, all the time. And the soup line helped us out, you know.
So you actually played integrated ball.
Yeah, integrated ball.
You didn't play in the Negro League. You played semi-pro with white and blacks. Right?
White and black. And you call it the Twilight League. Played at Twilight League in Fresno, and then played in Watsonville.
Why they call it the Twilight League? I got an idea, but I want you to tell me.
Yeah, it's in the evening. In the evening.
Why?
Because we didn't have no lights.
No lights.
Didn't have no lights.
Right. So this was around 1934, you said?
1934.
And so can you tell us how long did CC camp last?
Well, I stayed in the camp 3 years and a half. We had the league in the camp all the way from Los Angeles to Oregon. And we won the championship of California, that picture, of California in 1936. We saw the bridge being built. I saw them when it started.
Bay Bridge.
Bay Bridge.
So your season started when, around April?
Mm-hmm.
And it ended around the fall?
Around the fall.
So what was your position?
Shortstop and third. I played shortstop 9 years and third 6 years.
You know, those are two hot positions.
Oh, yeah.
Third base, you got to be able to throw it all the way across the diamond.
That's right. I let them run 3 steps and then throw them.
You had a strong arm.
That's how my arm was. I let them run 3 steps. And then Lane, do you know Mr. Lane?
No, I don't.
He would say, Turley, throw that ball up here. I said, what you want me to throw you, a strike? While the game was going on.
So you never did play basketball, right?
No, I was too short. I thought I was too short. But I was fast enough. I would have been all right.
So you played here in Oakland?
Played in Oakland. About every park in Oakland.
So tell me, how did you guys travel? Did you have money, or you carpooled, or?
Well, thank you for that. We used to go, like, when I was in Modesto, we used to have our Greyhound bus to take us. To take us down to Fresno.
You had to pay dues.
To head to Fresno. And then the way the players, that did the players, they would let them stay at the manager's house or either some house that just didn't have to buy the food, but they didn't give them but a few dollars, didn't give them no money. But we had some good players. We had the one was hit to a person, a ball hit to a person, then just pitcher would start walking to the dugout because he knew he was going to catch him.
Well, you know, the black ball players had a worse time than you guys did. They didn't have any place to eat and sleep. Did you encounter anything like that?
No, no. I don't know why. That was back east, wasn't it?
Yeah, and down south in the
Down
Midwest.
south. But they took care of the players in California. That's what was funny. I couldn't understand that because I didn't have to buy a loaf of bread while I played baseball.
That's because you guys are semi-pros.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about your hitting. Could you hit a fastball?
Oh, I was a leading home run hitter out of 36 teams. I could let him throw 3 balls and 2 strikes. I was on my way to, they asked me to come to Fresno to play. All right. I said, my sister died. He said, well, bury your sister. You know, you pray for us all the time. You bury your sister and come down. I said, well, you know, sadly, I went down. He was a man that his son is a doctor in Fresno. He was to wreck cars, you know, and I worked for him. And I stayed at his house, you know, wrecking cars. And
So you were the star of the team, so he made special provision for you.
no, yeah, that's right. Well, I don't know others. I don't know others that stayed at houses like that. But after I got married, the people loved it so much. They wanted my wife and I to stay with them, preachers and his wives and all like that. But it was really good to me.
So you have an interesting batting average.
Oh,
What was your batting average?
Oh, I was a clean-up man every time. You can just read between the lines. I was clean-up man every team I played on. Yeah. And we played in Watsonville, Wasco, and Eureka, Chica, Redding, and Red Bluff, Ione, Sonora, Sacramento, Keys, Ceres, Turlock, and all the town leading from here to San Francisco, and I played
So you
fireball.
You averaged 25 home runs a game?
Mm-hmm. And then I stopped counting them. I wished I had kept on. I stopped. I said, I just get up there and they'd be thinking I should hit a home run, or why didn't I hit one?
Well, you could call what you're going to hit.
Yeah. The doc, I finished telling you about the taping me up. I was taped up like that, and I had to reach down to get the bat. And Dr. Wallace, he could run like a rabbit. He was a doctor. And he said, you think you can go over? Well, I generally hit left field and center field. I said, I think so. So I reached down to get the bat. And I let him throw 3 balls and 2 strikes. He had to come over because they had a 3-0. 3-0. And it was 2 men on base.
So you were a real student of the game.
Yeah, that's right. And I swung because I was kind of weak, lifting it. I didn't tell you about the man's son fainted. And if I hadn't did like that, he would have broke his leg. And I said, I think so. And he had to throw it over the base. 3 balls and 2 strikes. I hit it over the right field fence. A white lady, she said, you sure can play ball. And she hugged me, come out on the field.
So tell us about the Oakland team, the 2040?
2940.
2940s.
Mm-hmm.
And this was around 1935, 36?
Yeah, 1935, 36, 34, 35, 36. And We won the championship in 1936.
In 1936,
Mm-hmm.
the championship.
Won the championship. Of all the teams, all the way from Los Angeles, I say to.
So can you tell me who's the person that had the most influence in your life?
The most influence? Well, I have to say my wife now.
It wasn't your brother?
Well, my brother, my mother and sister told me to take care of my brother, and he was 3 years older than me. He had a handicap, my brother next to me. If they had told me that he was handicapped, I know myself, it wouldn't have made no difference.
Right.
But I would have lorded over him.
Right.
And that's what they thought. But I wouldn't have. Because I took a lot off of him. And I just loved him. And I want to see him in heaven. And they said, watch out for him. I kept him. I went and put him back in church. And I saw that he was in there when he died.
You know, it was interesting. You and your brother went to Detroit to see a Negro League baseball team?
Yeah, he played back there too.
Mm-hmm. So what kind of experience was that to see all Negro?
Well, he played, he traveled. Played in South Dakota. I wasn't traveling with him then. I was playing in California. But he traveled in Detroit to Montana, Cheyenne, North Dakota, South Dakota. He played, he was a good player, good second baseman. We played in Fresno. He was second baseman, I was shortstop. He pretty good. He was a clinch hitter. He wasn't a home run hitter, but when he went to school, he was a home run hitter. That's funny.
Yeah.
But he was a clinch hitter. Went after he...
So tell me, what year did you finally decide you wanted to settle down and get married?
Well, I went barnstorming to New Orleans, all the way from Detroit. My brother I went to visit him, and he was sick for 1 year. And then I said, well, brother, you got your job back now. I'm going to barnstorming. And I went from Detroit to New Orleans, and just went all over. Then I ended up, I was young then, you know. I ended up in...
You was around, what, 38?
Mm-hmm.
Around 38 years old. Yeah.
About 38 years old. I ended up in Beaumont, Texas.
Tell me this, Mr. Turley. How do you think the ball players would compare to Jackie Robinson and Satchel Paige?
We didn't. They were the best.
Satchel Paige probably came out of that era, didn't he? Because no one ever knew his age.
Mm-mm.
But you guys think you could outrun Jackie Robinson?
No.
You could outsteal the bases?
He was the best.
He was better than you guys?
Yeah.
So tell me this. After you left New Orleans and you got married, did you have any children?
Well, my wife had been married before. She had one, but he got drowned. And we was pretty old when I was 20. She was 38 and I was 48 when we got married.
And then after that, you gave up ball playing?
When I was 38,
Yes.
I gave up ball playing.
And then we had a new league came in, right? The West Coast Baseball Association. You don't play. You didn't play in that, did you?
No, I didn't play in that one. I didn't play after 38. But I was in my prime though while I was playing.
And then World War II came, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then what did you do? What you do after that?
Well, I was working in the church. Mm-hmm.
But you was still living in Modesto, or?
When World War II. I think I was in Modesto.
So when did you come to Oakland? Or did you go to San Francisco?
No, I went back to Seaside.
That's a small black community.
That's small. But there are a lot of them there now, though.
Yeah.
See, everybody say when the colored get on top, they've always been on top. They did the hardest work. And they good workers.
So did you work in the shipyards at that time? You know, there was a lot of blacks working in the shipyard in Richmond.
No, I worked at the cannery, fish cannery in Monterey.
Oh, yes.
They had 16 canneries going at once. 16 canneries going at once. We would haul 2,400 boxes to the wharf every day, every shift.
So how was it watching the Bay Bridge being built?
It was interesting. I was sorry that so many got killed at one time. It was they fell in the about 16 of them. They had the funeral right there.
I understand they fell in the one of those pillows, and so the cement covered them up.
Covered them right there. And they dug down 200 feet, and they thought they had the ground, but there was this pan crest, and they had to go 200 feet more to get the bottom. Now you know how good the Lord is to let them do all of that underwater.
Right.
Isn't that something?
Yeah.
And so then 50 years before they started on the bridge, a lady said, one of these days they're going to build a bridge across the water, over the water. And they said she was crazy. And then 50 years to the date, it's good to keep dates.
Yeah.
50 years to the time she said that, they started. 50 years later, 50 years now, why would it be just 50? Because the Lord gives people remission,
Right.
eyesight, vision, to see. 50 years later, they started building a bridge.
Did they have a big celebration?
I know they did. I know they did. 50 years.
People walked across the bridge?
Yeah. And then they had an earthquake, and the bridge did like this. And everybody called in what was happening. What's happening? The bridge shook. It moved. So I made it for it to move. If I hadn't have did that, it would have tear it up right there. I made it for it to move, to give a little bit. So now they're doing that. They leave that much gap between the building. So it can swim.
Swing 12 feet, yes.
Mhm.
So, like getting back to the seals, I remember the seals, but I don't remember them. I never seen a game. Did you ever go to the seals game?
No, I didn't. I practiced with them.
So you met Joe DiMaggio?
Oh, yeah. Joe DiMaggio and another one. Yeah. He was a shortstop. He was a shortstop. I'll remember his name now. I practiced with him, with this whole team. They asked my brother, he said, "Who's that?" He said, "That's my brother." He said, "I'm sorry it's colored. I'll take him right now." My brother told me a year after that. I said, "Why didn't you tell me, Weeby?" He said, "I don't know." We was raising ourselves then. I was 20 years old. That's how I come in contact with the SEAL. Used to practice with them every day. They used to come to Monterey to practice. That's where you heard of that, didn't you?
Yes.
Yeah, they went to Monterey to practice. That was their training place.
What or who influenced you, for your occupation, to choose your occupation?
My brother.
You watched him and you liked what he was doing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. He was a wrestler. He weighed 148, and I saw him throw three boys bigger than him. One weighed 200.
Did you guys used to fight and wrestle when you were kids?
Yeah. We wrestled a half an hour one time. We couldn't throw each other. Of course, we was taking it easy, It wasn't no rough stuff.
So has the Bay Area changed? How much has it changed since you first came here?
Well,
because it seems like you worked and played in the whole area. You didn't just stay in one spot.
Oh, no.
So you must have seen a lot of changes.
I saw a lot of changes. But sometime I think that the people as a whole have self-control, but now this done spoil, it done different disposition. Even whole cities can make a change. It's like Monterey. It just seemed like one family down there. Everybody speaking to you, shaking your hand, saying, "I believe I'm going to eat dinner with you at the fair," It changed. People don't have patience with one another enough.
Yeah.
The 5 most important words in the world is, "I love you very much." The next 4 is, "What is your opinion?" The next 3 is, "If you please." The next 2 is, "Thank you." And the least of all is I, and the greatest of all is Jesus. We don't have enough patience with one another. And everybody need patience, and they don't have it. Not everybody, but. And then mercy, everybody wants. But you have to do something to receive mercy. You have to do something to have patience. A preacher was in a pulpit preaching, and the lady said, "Preacher, I want patience." He said, "All right, I'm going to pray for you. Dear Lord in heaven, give this lady trouble. Give her trials." She said, No, I don't mean that." He said, "That's what you have to get patience."
So you would tell the young people of today that they have to have patience.
They have to have patience.
They want, this is an instant society now.
That's right. Instant society.
So are you working currently in the community? You have any activities going on? Tell us about it.
Well, I put it off, but I'm going to do it. I promise you that. I'm going to do it because in the street I talk to people, but I'm going to go further than that. I'm going to go to the house and speak to.
Do you have any hobbies? You play golf or anything?
Well, reading is mine.
Read your hobby?
The life on earth, beginning of life in heaven. Education on earth, initiation into the principles of heaven. Our life work here is a training for our life work there. So what we now are in character and holy service is a sure foreshadowing of what we shall be. At the coming of Christ, the wicked shall be blotted from off the face of the earth, consumed with the spirit of his mouth, and destroyed by the brightness of his coming. This earth will become empty and unoccupied. This earth will become a desolate wilderness. Here to be the home for Satan and his evil angels for 1,000 years. Limited to this earth, they will not be able to tempt nor annoy the other world which will never fall. After the 1,000 years is finished, Christ returned to the earth. As he descended in his terrific majesty, he called forth the bigger dead to see their doom. As the new Jews he sent out of God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband, at rest in a purified and prepared spot, ready to receive it in the standing splendor, Christ with the people and the angels entered to the city, and there will be no dark valley when Jesus comes.
Well, I see you're quite a poet too, huh? Do you have a favorite color?
Sir?
You have a favorite color?
Color?
What you like? What kind of color you like? You like browns, blacks, orange, yellow?
Yellow.
Yellow is your favorite color? What about food? What's your favorite food?
You know what? I could live off of beef stew till I die right now.
Beef stew.
And then I don't eat too much beef stew because I'm dodging meat.
Mm-hmm.
Soup, I better change it to soup. I could live off of soup. But I wouldn't live long, just soup, you know.
Yeah.
I would have to have vegetables. But I'm invited out quite a bit. And when my wife have a lot of relatives, and we take turns taking to dinner and here and there. Like we went to Seaside the other day and stayed 3 days, and just in the motel, and just 7 of us in 2 rooms.
You know, that's an interesting concept that you dodging beef, but your best meal is beef stew. You have to talk about that sometime.
Yeah, yeah.
What do you think about today's ball players?
Well, you know, the Bible says you're going to get weaker and wiser. We have some real good players now, but what it is, champions are born, not made. Mm-hmm. See, I was a natural boxer, and I was going, my mother told me, I'm glad she told me this, she told me, baby, I'm the baby of the family. She said, don't never start a fight, but if somebody jump on you, get them off. Mm-hmm. Now, she told me that. If she hadn't have told me that, just 2 weeks after that, a boy was 11, jumped on, he didn't jump on me, but he gonna put a knife on me. And my brother, I had 3 or 4 brothers at home, they showed me the art of self-defense. So if she hadn't have told me that, the story would have been different. So I grabbed his wrist, shook the knife from his hand, picked it up. I knew where I threw it. I was 9 years old. I threw it across the clothing, threw it across the street, and then I beat him. He was 11, I was 9. He was tall. And so his mother wanted my mother to whip me. She said, "How'd it start, baby?" I said, "I was coming home, just like the story I told you." And they jumped on me. And she said, "I can't whip him. He never tells me a story."
You look like you're in pretty good shape. I don't think I would want to grab you right now.
Oh, no, I had 4 knockout punches.
Oh, yeah.
I had 4. I just had to hit a man once.
Right. I see you have
But-
some interesting photos on the to show us.
Mhm.
Did you point them out to us?
Well,
Who's that handsome fellow there?
there, that's my hometown. I was in my hometown, Paso Robles, El Paso Robles. And that's when anniversary, we just had got married then.
It's you and your beautiful wife.
Yeah,
Okay.
I never saw so much anybody that have so much endurance. She can't hardly walk now because she got the arthritis, but she gets up at 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning when she have to go like to church, and she know I like the potatoes. I guess that's.
Well, she upright.
Yeah. And she just say, "Go and fix onions and potatoes." And then she can cook a turkey and melt in your mouth. The way she learned how to cook was, she was in the South, the mother worked out, and the white lady said, "Little girl, I'm going to teach you how to cook." And she can cook anything.
Well, so tell me this, who are these fellows?
Well, that's Pete, and I forget a lot of them name, but this is Roy Edmondson.
Where are you?
He's right there.
Okay.
So, see, you notice so many of us look alike
Right.
with the same smile.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And who's that fellow at the piano?
It was at the college on the program up in Seventh-day Adventist
So you
College.
play piano too?
A little bit, and guitar and harmonica and accordion.
And who is this guy here
That's me too. That's
with the bow tie?
Granny Goose. And
What about Granny Goose?
I worked there 21 years. They gave a party for me every year. Every year. Every year. Yeah. And that's me, Roy Emerson, Logan brother. That's one of the Logan brothers. That's the other. Them two are dead. Count Bonner. He was a good pitcher.
So how long did this team stay in existence?
Well, after we played, 38. Well, we was best about 2 or 3 years. Best.
And it was called the what?
29-40.
Oh, that was the 29-40.
And then 29-40.
Okay. All right. So
Yeah.
what about here?
That was, I was working at Granny Goose then.
What is it? Well, Mr. Turner, thank you very much.
It was a
I
pleasure.
appreciate it. It was a pleasure to.
It was a pleasure. It was a pleasure. I appreciate you letting me come here and tell my experience.
We appreciate you doing it too.
Yeah. And God bless all of y'all. And I just want to say this.